This is Aaron Waddell, your ancestral health coach. Welcome to the Ancestral Life. Every day, I hear so much bad, misleading information out there in the world about health. This information leads people into making really poor decisions about health in their own lives. I've had as much as I can take of this, so I decided to throw my own hat into the ring to hopefully make a difference in your life. Now, if you're listening to me, I'm guessing that you're not completely satisfied with your health and your life. That there's at least one area, or maybe several areas, where you'd like to get better. Let me be your partner on a voyage of discovery to get there together. Hey there. Welcome to the first episode of the Ancestral Life podcast. If you listened last week, realized that I've rebranded a bit. I really couldn't stand, after I listened to it some more, I just couldn't stand the former title, Maximum Masculinity. It just didn't feel like me. And I really just need to be true to myself. And that's just not who I am. It was too aggressive and I just didn't like it. So this is where we're going now. We're going to the Ancestral Life podcast. And I hope you like it. I hope you're not upset about that. But we're still going to be moving on. We're still going to be in the same vein. It's not going to be that different. We are going to continue what we started last week, which was talking about the things to boost your testosterone naturally. Last week we discussed the first key, which you said was eating enough calories. So a lot of people don't eat the calories they need to, and this really affects their ability to create hormones and all kinds of other bodily processes. So if you want to know more about that, you can go back to the last episode and listen to that. And for now it's under Maximum Masculinity. I may switch it depending how the podcast gods let me do that. But I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So for the second key, we're going to discuss the importance of sunlight. Getting outdoors, getting out in the sun, on our bare skin, that is, and producing vitamin D. Now, what's the first thing you think of when someone mentions the sun? Maybe it's a sunny beach or just a nice day, pleasant feeling. Now, when we talk about it in terms of health, I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is vitamin D. We hear about vitamin D all the time, about how essential it is, and really it's hard to overstate how important vitamin D is to our body. The benefits of vitamin D: it supports healthy bones, it maintains our calcium levels, it reduces inflammation, and of course we hear it supports the immune system, and it even improves glucose metabolism. So you can see that from all that, it's super important that we do get enough vitamin D. Now, this raises an issue, because what have we been told for the last 40, 50, 60 years is stay out of the sun, put on sunscreen, like slather on that stuff, put it on every 2 hours. If you get a sunburn, it's the end of the world. Now, we've been told that, but if you actually look at outcomes, skin cancer is actually higher in office workers than people who work out in the sun. So, is it really the sunlight that's the problem? I'm really not sure of that. And the more I learned, I don't think it is. The problem is that these seed oils that we eat, canola, sunflower, soy, all oils, they come from seeds of plants. These have such a bad effect on our cells of our body, including the skin cells, that when they're hit by these UVB rays, it really causes damage because the cells themselves are in such a fragile state. And so this is where the skin cancer comes. Now, if those cells are healthy, it seems that there's not nearly the impact on that. And I'll say just inside that since I've cut these seed oils from my diet, I've yet to have a sunburn. And that's going out every day for probably at least an hour in the middle of the day during all of the summer. So when people ask me, aren't you afraid of the sun? Are you afraid of skin cancer, melanoma, all these things? And I say, no, I'm not. I know cancer is a possibility no matter what. But I think that getting on the sun like that and getting that vitamin D, that natural dose of vitamin D, is more protective. It outweighs the danger presented by the ultraviolet light. And as we've actually seen, sunlight in certain studies, sunlight is actually protective against certain kinds of cancer. So I figure even if there's an increased risk of melanoma, the decrease in these other cancers more than outweighs that risk. In addition, melanoma is actually one of the most easily treatable and successfully treatable forms of cancer. So I'm going to take my chances and enjoy the sun while I can. So clearly now we see that the sun definitely has benefits. Now when we talk about direct effect on testosterone, we've actually seen some animal studies that have shown improved levels of testosterone and libido in, I believe it was mice. So there haven't been direct studies on that in humans, but it would definitely be likely that there's a similar effect. Other impacts of the sun is that it's actually shown to lower blood pressure. And this is because of the sunlight on skin causing an increase in the release of nitric oxide. So this actually dilates blood vessels and lowers blood pressure and decreases the risk of cardiovascular disease. Another great thing about the sun is that it regulates our circadian rhythm. Now this is kind of the internal clock in your body, so to speak, that tells you when you should be waking up and when you should be going to bed. So what we see is that if you can get outside, out in direct sunlight as early as possible in the morning, like as soon as you can upon waking, that this kind of activates the circadian clock. It starts the clock. And so then when you like 12 hours later, your body says, oh, okay, it's time for bed. And so then you go to sleep that much easier. It regulates that release of melatonin that causes us to want to go to sleep. And if you don't know already, we'll see it later, but sleep is absolutely crucial for testosterone. Um, if you don't get enough sleep, it will dramatically decrease your testosterone level. And I'm sure if you're a man, you're well aware of that fact. You definitely notice a difference in your physiology when you don't get enough sleep. Something else that you might not be aware of is that sunlight triggers a release of beta endorphins, like the same kind of endorphins that are released when you exercise or when you're happy. So these endorphins, they promote a sensation of well-being and improve your mood. They boost this immune system on their own in addition to the vitamin D. They actually are good at relieving pain, and they help you to relax. And I'm sure you realize that anytime you've been on vacation and laid out in the sun, and it's so much easier to relax. They help wounds heal. They help you feel more alert. And of course, we've all heard of SAD, seasonal affective disorder. So we see the powerful effects that sunlight has to improve mood and reduce the symptoms of depression. Now, there are alternatives to sunlight because, I mean, sometimes it's just impossible. You can't get the sun you'd like to get. It could be because of the season, because of the nature of your job. There's a variety of factors. Your latitude, like where you are in the world, affects the amount of sunlight and the UV exposure you can get. So there are alternatives. People use light therapy for mood disorders. You can take vitamin D supplements, and this is definitely recommended. Now, the problem with vitamin D supplements is that there is definitely a potential for overdose, and you do have to be careful of that. Now, the main consequence of vitamin D toxicity is that it causes a buildup of calcium in your blood. And now this excess of calcium can cause some problems like nausea and vomiting, weakness, and frequent urination. But if it's kind of allowed to progress, it can progress to bone pain and kidney problems, particularly the formation of painful kidney stones. The beauty of getting your vitamin D from the sun is that you can get much, much higher levels of vitamin D in your blood without the risk of this calcium surplus, this buildup of calcium. There's something about the vitamin D that you create that protects against this. There's actually been no recorded instances of a vitamin D toxicity from only sunlight. So that's a great thing. You don't have to, when you go out in the sun, you don't have to worry about that toxicity. Now, in addition to the light therapy and the vitamin D supplements that we discussed earlier, also medication and cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is also shown to be effective in treating the seasonal affective disorder. So there you have it. Just a quick rundown of all the great benefits of the sun and how it is powerfully impactful to your testosterone and other hormone levels, and just your health in general. So I hope that was helpful for you, and hope you're excited as I am that summer's coming and we'll be able to get out in the sun and get all those great benefits from that glorious orb in the sky. If you like the podcast, it would mean so much to me if you'd write a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever service you're listening on. And please share it with a friend. You can share it on social media too, with the hashtag #TheAncestralLife. And last, but certainly not least, I'm building a community on Facebook. Many of you may already be in it, but for those of you that aren't, I'd love to invite you. It's called the Ancestrally Aligned Health Support Group. So if you're feeling lost and alone in your health journey, and you feel like you don't have the support that you need to be successful, then please come join us. I just want to do everything I can to help you through the difficult times and cheer you on for your successes, commiserate with your setbacks, and just in general be a good friend. So I really hope to see you there. The link is in the show notes, or you can just search for it on Facebook. Thanks for your time. In the words of the incomparable Wim Hof, all the love, all the power.